And we're back. We've defeated Astos. I think we can kill a wolf. Yes, look at that. Beautiful. We gained a level. And I think it's actually time to give the bronze hammer to the cleric. Because that's 32 damage. Yeah, so now the paladin is going to attack with his fists so that the cleric can hit harder. Being level 8. And this video we're mostly going to be doing some shopping. I wonder how fast we can do all this. Because when I first started making this app, one of the first things I wanted to do was make sure you could do the whole Mystic Key roundup very fast. Because I found it always very tedious in the original, especially if you had forgotten to sell armor. Because then your items would be full, item slots, and it would just be a mess. Okay, so I already had our iron scale armor, and we now have the iron armor, iron staff for both of our staff users. Onto the human empire. Oops, let's run away from these. Now, I recently realized I hadn't finished talking about Secret of Evermore. And I got to the point where I was saying that it had quite some personality. Now, the theme of the game is that, to me at least, is that you are a visitor to four people's fantasies. They each, you have Fire Eyes, the girl, and then you had Horace, who's in, who I presume is a archaeologist in real life, and of course he has a thing for the past. Giddy. Check out these 38 and 23. Good. So I bet he always dreamed of being part of old Roman culture. And when you visit Antiquitae or whatever it's called, yeah, you see that world that he fashioned. Then you have Camilla, I think it was her name, and she, I think she was a library, so she read a lot of books. We can presume that, right? Oh, in that case, we'll let Paladin use the hammer still for now. Steel shield too, good. And just like most of my other friends who love reading a lot of books, they seem to have a thing for the Middle Ages. So there's also a couple of references to Alice in Wonderland, like the creature in the tree trying to get you through that magical forest, kind of like the Cheshire Cat, and the queen being evil and all that. So it's that world was her imagination. And finally, you have the professor. I don't remember his name, but the guy who made Evermore, and it's all futuristic there. And I guess that's his fantasy to one day be part of the technology he is trying to develop. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, I should have maybe gotten some of the spells. Yeah. Okay, let's first sell things. You have lots to sell. You do not have to defeat Astos in this version of the game. So, but you do get rewarded for doing so. Lots of gold. Makes it easy to get all the everything from Elfland. I mean, when you first enter Elfland, you're like, oh no, I can never get all this stuff, never. And if you defeat Astos, you should actually be able to get quite a lot of the stuff. So what I like about Secret of Evermore is that you get to see people's dream come reality, but also crumble to this, yeah, to this outside force. And okay, maybe it's not complicit. Maybe I'm filling in a lot of holes. But I've always enjoyed going through those worlds, especially the second and third, the Roman civilization in the Middle Ages. Just talking with the people there and seeing how they feel about these utopias. It just fascinates me. Okay, do we have all level 3 magic? I want to make sure I have all that. Good. On to level 4. So, cleans is good. Shield 2 is also very good. Life is okay. I mean, especially with this team, I should get it, but why am I going here? Um, Either another cleans or the ability to resurrect my characters. I would go for the second. Yeah. Cleans is nice, but we already have one person able to cast cleans. So there. Okay, so with this party, which has 2 dedicated casters, which is more than average, I was able to get all the spells except 2, and I think that's fine. But if you only have 1 dedicated caster, you should. I think you have enough money to get all the spells. And if you don't have any dedicated casters, it's quite easy. Now we just went to the end, so we'll just continue on to the Earth Cave. Now, if there's one chest you might want to skip in this game, it's the one to the top here. Because all it is a house, but I just like going there. Oh, because the paladin got slept. Yes. Then we'll cast a purge. See how well this goes. Good. One is kept alive, so I can purge for free. Although it was only 1. Okay, good. The 4th area of Secret of Evermore, I'm not a big fan of. That's in the future. I can't stand the sound there. It's like this high-pitched. Nah, it just annoys me. Oh, I don't have any confuse or anything that's good, do I? I feel like beating this team, but they do hit pretty hard. We'll do a shield and an invis and see how well it goes. Okay, hopefully that makes a difference. That's 8 extra armor and an invis, which might help a bit. So in the future, you don't come across any citizens in Secret of Evermore. It's just robots. And I think it's kind of interesting, though, this idea of the future. But it doesn't fascinate me the same way. It's not. It doesn't feel like a utopia. It feels like a big engine. But still, I have a great time visiting Evermore, and I kind of also like the alchemy thing. I, I think that Secret of Mana had a kind of an awkward system of magic where all spells are just overpowered in that game, without doubt. And it tries to balance it, but it doesn't get away with that. And Secret of Evermore is just not concerned about balance. So, for some reason, I kind of enjoy using the alchemy. It makes you feel very overpowered in Secret of Evermore to abuse it, and I find it somewhat fitting for some reason. Maybe it's because you find ingredients all over the place. Maybe because they're expensive. But I don't play Secret of Evermore like an RPG. I play it like, well, the game it is. And it's quirky. There are a lot of things that just don't make sense, that are out of place. Like there's one ingredient called Atlas, which is very powerful. It requires a certain medallion, which you can only buy 3 at a time. So you kind of have to think ahead when you use that. There's this marketplace, which there are all these little rules, which may or may not lead to you having getting an item or not. If you ever plan to play Evermore and you're concerned about getting a perfect save, you have some homework to do because there are all these little things that you only get one chance to do. Um, there's there's one thing that I particularly love. It's the yeah, Quirky. It's the desert in Antiquity. The a lot of games, especially in the 2-bit era, had endless deserts. You could just walk on and on and on, and just will never end. It's kind of like a thing. And Secret of Evermore has this desert, but it's not endless. That's the thing. It's just really long. It just takes a long time to get through it. And there's this boat. Do I fight these? Yeah, why not? I don't have anything. The slow help? Don't think so. So there's this boat with this skeleton figure in it. It's totally out of place. And he's like, yeah, if you give me this amulet of annihilation, I'll let you get across the desert. And because you notice how big the desert is, you think, okay, then I must get this. But at the same time, this amulet, it costs 10,000 gems, which is horrendously expensive. So that's odd. It's totally off-putting for the new player, and actually that's why I like it. The game doesn't really make sense in a lot of places, and I like my games being obscure like that. It's something I never see anymore. I grew up on Castlevania 2 and other weird games on the NES. Playing Ultima, I never got far, but Zelda 2 is also kind of weird at times. Text adventures, I grew up on that. They often had the weirdest things. Maniac Mansion, that was one of my favorite games as a kid. Um, you have to give waxed fruit to a green tentacle to pass it. Just video game logic, and I like that. Games are rather self-contained, and they get to be their own little rules. And I love it when games reflect reality, but often they don't even come close. Like, and I love the DSX games; they're awesome. But every time you drink water, you get one hit point. So, um, yeah, things like that. I mean, in Deus Ex, you can go to people, but you can't talk, you can't ask them everything. So it's not really realistic. Now, I still think Deus Ex is a great game, but a lot of games, they have a lot of things that just don't make sense, and so they compromise a lot. And actually, I like games that don't even try to compromise. They're like, yeah, it's just a game, so it can be silly and weird. There's in Secret of Evermore. There's also a play with puppets. So the king of the Middle Ages, he's brainwashed by this puppet show, and there's a the puppets hardly move on the stage, and there's a text which is like really bad poetry, and every time I play the game, I just watch it, and I get touched. I get touched by it because it's I can't help but think that the makers of the game, I don't know what they were trying. I could go two ways. Either they deliberately want it to be bad, and then I think it's kind of funny. It's like, wow, they made this puppet show in this game uh, stupendously bad, um, you know, kind of like mocking the king and mocking the player with how awful it is. Or, now, I've studied literature, so I like to think I know what a good poem is or not, even though I don't read Yeats for my own pleasure, but okay. Um, yeah, it's like the name of the writer of that poem or play kind of sounds like Shakespeare, but it's not Shakespeare, even though it reminds you of it. The other way I can go is I think, okay, the person who made it actually has plunged their feelings in this and tucked it in a video game, in a commercial video game. And I think that's very bold, and I can only applaud that. So if it's for real, yay for them. And if it's just a joke, I think that's also awesome. So yeah, Secret of Evermore, close to my heart. next time we go deeper into the Earth Cave. See you then.